Hello and welcome to the history of Babylon 5. Today's episode, Alfred Bester. Alfred Bester was formerly known as Stephen Kevin Dexter and was born in August 2189 at a secret location while his parents Matthew and Fonda Dexter, resistant leaders both, were in hiding. Little Stee, as they used to call him, was named for Stephen Walters, his godfather and a trusted friend of his parents. Unbeknownst to anyone other than the late Resistance founder Monkey, Little Stee's godfather, Fonda's father, was none other than the Psi Corps director Kevin Vacit, himself a powerful but unregistered telepath. Shortly after emerging from hiding, Little Stee was with his parents and the Walters at the Styx Hotel fortress when the Psi Corps picked up one of their people, Jenny Winters, in a nearby town. A deep scan quickly turned up the location of the Styx as their eastern base of operations. During the ensuing raid, Fonda and Matthew entrusted Little Stee to Walters and sent him to lead a group out to escape through the caves, while they set a self-destruct. After making it out into the woods, Walters left the baby with a young girl named Valerie in the basement of an abandoned house, with orders to stay and wait for him to return. Walters made his way back to the stronghold through the woods, swarming with bloodhound units in an attempt to help Matthew and Fonda. The pair had been caught in a crossfire, and Walters only arrives in time for their mind screams as they perish together. Distraught, Stephen made his way back to the abandoned house to find the basement empty and no sign of either the baby or the girl. Though Walters didn't know if Little Stee was alive or dead, he was certain that if he hadn't been killed, then the corpse, after the purges, having heard that his daughter has been killed, Vacit visited his baby grandson, determined that he could never be connected with either Dexter's or himself, renaming Little Stee Alfred Bester, after the 20th century fiction author. Even from birth, Alfred's talent had been fully manifested, which, combined with his rating as a strong P12, made him a very special and rare telepath. Placed with other such children, Alfred was raised by the Corps with other children in Teepstown Alpha Squad Cadre House. In 2201, Alfred, now 12 and preparing to enter the minor academy, was in his room with Brett when the Grins swept into the dormitories, ordering them and the other cadre children to strip before parading them outside in front of the older classes. They were driven into one of the assembly halls, where many others had been corralled together as the Grins began to savagely rip apart their telepathic blocks, tearing out memories of shame and humiliation, and glyphing them for all to see. The scans intensify as all present are made to experience the most unpleasant memories of their fellows until finally Bester snaps and fights back, taking up the telepathic call for them to stop. The others soon join together, shouting at the tops of their minds for the Grins to stop it. When they finally do, the Grins proudly take off their masks and robes, revealing that they are in fact teachers. Hugh tells them that the children are all of Cadre Prime, just as they are. With that, he and the other teachers drop their defenses and invite the children to do to their teachers what had just been done to them, sharing their minds and memories. With the infiltration complete, Bester and the other new members of the Cadre Prime are dressed, and the last receive their first pair of gloves. Bester, still stung by the betrayal of Hugh and the others, determines that he can never trust individuals ever again. Only the corpse can be trusted. The corpse's mother, the corpse's father. After graduating, Bester was admitted into Metapole and was assigned as an intern, along with Annie Mallory, under Olivia Vaughn. Al served with distinction and was cited for showing outstanding courage under fire. After his internship ended, Bester's first assignment was to the St. Petersburg office, where he had earned an exceptional arrest record, making lieutenant in just under 4 years. His record at the time also showed 2 official complaints from civilians for his excessive use of force, though both individuals were convicted of aiding and abetting blips. In 2258, Bester was in pursuit of a powerful telepath named Jason Ironheart, who had been a victim of illegal genetic and drug experiments by the Psi Corps, in an attempt to create a powerful super telepath, a P20 or beyond. With Kelsey, he intended to use a safe word to subdue him. While on Babylon 5, Bester exhibited a polite and urban manner as a tool that allowed him to easily build a rapport with and manipulate others. Bester was cold, manipulative, and calculating in the pursuits of his goals. He convinced the senior staff that Ironheart was dangerous and scanned Talia Winters to make sure that she had not had contact with him. He also kept track of the senior staff as they found leads. At one point, he suspected a drill was actually an escape attempt and found Ironheart being helped by Winters and Sinclair. He immediately joined with Kelsey to send the safe word, but Sinclair knocked him out, allowing Ironheart to escape. Afterwards, in Sinclair's office, Bester was forced to agree to a false statement as he lost Kelsey in the incident and would not be able to explain it. Bester returned to Babylon 5 and agreed to work with Captain John Sheridan at several points during the Shadow War. He learned that his pregnant lover, Carolyn Sanderson, was abducted for use in the Shadow ships. Bester decided to go outside the Corps and trick Sheridan into rescuing her and the other 99 telepaths by telling Sheridan that the ships contained shadow weapons. Pretending to be stranded in a stealth Star Fury, he drew their attention and allowed them to tow him to the station. As he predicted, he was very distrusted, but was able to convince them to go out to Sector 500 by revealing his suspicions of shadow interference in EarthGov. He went with them on a White Star and helped locate the transport in hyperspace. Further, he sensed the shadow vessel and sent it away telepathically. Sheridan was able to capture the transport and bring it back to Babylon 5. Before leaving the station, he asked the crew to take care of Sanderson. However, after Michael Garibaldi was captured during an attack by the Shadows on the station, Bester was able to secretly recover and capture him in turn. Bester had become aware of an anti-telepath conspiracy and decided to try and use Garibaldi to expose it. Bester subjected him to subtle reprogramming in order to use him as a sleeper agent. He increased Garibaldi's traits of paranoia and distrust of authority, correctly believing that the conspiracy would view Garibaldi as the prime recruit, once alienated from his friends at work. The wealthy industrialist, William Edgars, the plot's mastermind, believed that a civil war among humanity would be counterproductive, no matter how bad the current regime is. Edgar insisted that Garibaldi draw out Sheridan before he could bring Garibaldi fully into his confidence. Garibaldi, not suspecting why he was so driven to find out the innermost secrets of the plot, betrayed Sheridan to the agents of the corrupt President Clark. Edgars then revealed that his pharmaceutical company, Edgars Industries, had perfected a lethal virus which would attack telepaths' unique genes. Any infected telepath would quickly die without regular doses of the antidote that they also created. This would reduce the telepaths to a slave race and avert the war which many normals and telepaths believed loomed in the horizon. After learning this, Garibaldi entered a fugitive state and alerted Bester and the Psi Corps. The Corps murdered William Edgars and captured the only known samples of both the virus and the antidote. Bester came to Garibaldi, still locked in his robotic paralysis, and revealed the details of the brainwashing and the deception. He removed the commands and left Garibaldi to cope with the realization that he had betrayed everyone he knows on all sides. It was later revealed, even with the reprogramming removed, Bester had left in place an Asimov, adapted from the first two Isaac Asimov's 3 robotic laws, knowing that Garibaldi would likely murder him on sight if not prevented to do so. Lita Alexander eventually agreed to remove the Asimov from Garibaldi's mind once he had helped her destroy the Psi Corps. Bester went to visit Sheridan after he turned himself in at Earth Dome, following the conclusion of the Civil War. Bester turned on a device to disable recording devices, and after a bit of banter, demanded to know if Sanderson was among the telepaths he used to disable the Earth fleet. He was relieved to hear that she was still on Babylon 5 and will be transferred once things settle down. At the end of the conversation, Sheridan implied that he knows the Psi Corps' plans to take over the government, but Bester dismissed the idea. After the telepath war, Alfred Bester was wanted for war crimes that he committed. He spent several years on the run before moving to Paris, France. He fell in love with a local businesswoman named Louise, but Michael Garibaldi eventually tracked him down. Bester was brought before the war crimes trial and tried in France for his crimes. He was sentenced to life in prison and subjected to the sleeper drugs that deprived him of his telepathic abilities. He spent the next 10 years in maximum security prison and died shortly after the disappearance of John Sheridan in 2281. Thank you for watching the History of Bester. Special thanks to the Babylon Project for all information you heard today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you can. If you have, thank you. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.